You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong.
Go get 'em!
It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like really loves.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, hey, this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, 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 motivation.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No! 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
That spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong.
Go get 'em.
It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, 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 motivation.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
That spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong.
Go get 'em.
It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, 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 motivation.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
This is Ryan Paul.
pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, joined by Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network. Good morning to everyone, at least in the Central Standard Time. A couple of quick announcements / adjustments. I'm going to have to reschedule Coach Eric Dooley for next week or another time. Hopefully it'll be next week. Last week was not able to have a show. It is a long story. All I'm going to say is if you have fiber optic, that's a great thing, but hey, AT&T, when you're putting in the neighbor's fiber optic, don't cut my line by accident and then cause me not to have a show. I think I'll send a nice letter, a very nice one, explaining how I feel about the situation. So, Coach Dooley, I apologize. We're going to have to reschedule. Also, 2 weeks ago, in my announcement, I was talking about Dr. Kiki Barber, and I mentioned it as such. It's Dr. Kiki Barber Barnes. I apologize for that. When you make a mistake, you have to own it, Charles. And so I wanted to give her the proper name. So Dr. Kiki Barber Barnes. With that being said, the guest menu looks like this. Of course, you can see Charles Edmond. We'll hear from him shortly. Larry Harold Jr. is scheduled to join us, a former Southern University offensive lineman, kind of a Where Are They Now segment. So he'll be the first that we'll talk about in this segment forthcoming. Coach Van Pettaway is scheduled to join us, and then Brandon B.J. Jones. Charles, good morning to you via Arkansas, Pine Bluff. How you doing, sir?
I'm trying to stay dry. Good morning. It's been waterlogged here over the last I would say 12 hours or so. We were able to get yesterday's doubleheader in, but there was question marks about today, and it still is. I've got my phone here waiting for our baseball coach to send a text with an update. Right now, we're scheduled to play at 3 o'clock. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's been raining off and on here the last 3 hours, thunder, heavy downpours. Don't know if we're going to get this one in today. They don't have lights here at the Torrey Hunter softball and baseball complex. It's a softball and baseball complex paid for by former MLB player Torrey Hunter. There are no lights, so you have to factor that in. You hope that the rain stops. Then you got to get water off the turf, water off the field. You got to let it dry. And with no lights and all that, it makes the timeline a little more accelerated. So we don't know if we'll play today. Possibly we could play tomorrow, but if we don't play today, my best guess is we might make it a 4-game series at Alcorn when they come to our place. So that's on the table. But hey, the Braves got a win yesterday, and hopefully to build on it either today or tomorrow, whenever we play again. But it was a good win. It was a good day. It didn't start off good. We lost 23-2, but then we came back and won 13-10 and went long ball 3 times. So that's a good sign that we could score some runs, despite the fact that our roster is not as deep. But the fight was there, the passion was there, the energy was there, at least for the second game, and we hope we can build on it whenever we play again.
Well, you can only get better. That's what I say about Alcorn State baseball. We know the challenges that they've had and the issues. And I said a couple of weeks ago, 2 years from now, it may be a different story. Alcorn baseball will be, they'll look at this time now and think, wow, it's been a long, long time, but we're much better. But we'll have some more baseball updates later on in the show. Guest menu looks like this. We told you about that. Of course, Charles Edmond, Larry Harold Jr., Coach Van Pettaway, and Brandon B.J. Jones. Some news and notes. Rodney Milburn to be part of the inaugural Collegiate Athlete Hall of Fame. Rodney Milburn passed away time ago, but he performed in the Olympics, was a great student athlete at Southern University. So he'll be in the inaugural Collegiate Athlete Hall of Fame. Also, Vernetta Skeet, named head women's basketball coach at Texas Southern. And looking at her bio, I mean, she was associate head coach at Texas A&M, Illinois. On paper, it fits what you're looking at. So she is now the new women's basketball coach at Texas Southern. And then last, Tony Matlock, head basketball coach at Alabama State. Now for the men's basketball program, former head men's basketball coach at South Carolina State, Charles. So Alabama State moves quickly. Texas Southern has a new women's basketball coach. And boy, it's going to be very competitive. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, Vernetta Skeet played her college basketball at Alcorn. And I remember Skeet really, really well. Yes. Really a dynamo of a guard. And I sent her a message, a congratulatory message the other day, because I remember her during her playing days under Shirley Walker. So I do remember her as a player. So congratulations to her. Looking at her resume, she clearly has moved up the ladder. So I think, she's given that opportunity. I know there was some talk out there in social media land that, Jackson State's head coach, Coach Reed, should have the opportunity considering what she's done, but that obviously didn't happen. Texas Southern obviously looked a little bit closer to home. So congratulations to Skeet. She deserves the opportunity, and I think she will do well there. The talent is there. The talent pool is there, and I think she'll do well. And then, for Alabama State, Dr. Cable told me that they were going to slow roll this hire. They weren't going to have a knee-jerk reaction to what was going on around the conference. And, Mo Williams, resigned one day, and then 3 days later he's hired at Jackson State. They were going to slow roll it, and they did. And so you get a coach with, HBCU pedigree in South Carolina State. So I think it's a good hire. It's a solid hire. And I think, it's got some work to do there. But I do think that, Dr. Cable, knowing him as an administrator here at Alcorn with the SWAC conference and now Bama State, he likes to slow roll it really, really well. And I think he's going to give him plenty of time to build that Bama State basketball program. I think the potential's there. You got a great showpiece in the Reed Acadome. And I think the talent base is there in that region, the Alabama, Georgia region, and throughout, the SWAC territory. So I think, he'll hit the ground running. And I do think he'll improve that basketball program. And I think that's what you're looking for, right now there.
Will there be a grace period, a honeymoon period? Is that realistic to even think about that? I think it'll just take some time, because every time you're looking at this transfer portal. Basically, every school had to deal with this. And so I know it is easy to say you expect this to happen so quickly, but I think you got to have a grace period. Well, hopefully they'll be able to come in and get things done. But I think the pressure now is to win and win quickly. And with the transfer portal, that is basically a blessing for some, or put it this way, it could be a blessing and a curse. And so hopefully he'll get some time to both coaches to come in and implement their philosophies and what they would like to do, and give it some time to get the program where they want it to be.
Well, I think at Texas Southern, I do think there's a little bit more pressure just because of the success that they've had as a women's basketball program. I think there's a little bit more, even though we know this is Skeet's first crack at this thing, I do think that there's a little bit more pressure to keep Texas Southern in the top tier of the league. I think you can make that safe statement, because that's where they've been, in the top tier, top 3, 4, 5 program. So I do think there's a little bit more pressure, but I do think, Kevin Granger, the AD, and the administration there will give her a little bit, give her some time. I think for Bama State, I think it's going to be a little bit more time. I mean, just look at the program over the last couple of years. You know, you had Lewis Jackson, longtime coach there, really struggled the last few years. Then Mo Williams didn't last a long time. He was there a couple of years. And now you've got a coach there that has to pick up those pieces. So I do think that for Bama State, I think gradual improvement is what Dr. Cable is looking for. Not to, I mean, of course, you want to win a championship. We've seen lightning in a bottle with Landon Bussey in 2 years. But I do think at Bama State's a little bit different situation, you know, coming over from the MEAC and just try to build those relationships. I do think that there's a little bit more time at Bama State than it is Texas Southern, in my opinion. You know, though I just knowing Dr. Cable the way I do and how he likes to, you know, slow roll things a little bit, he understands it's a process. And I do think in 3 years, if the program is mid-level, top 4, top 3, top 5, I do think that that's success, and you can kind of build on that.
Well, hopefully it'll be a quick journey for both coaches. And when you look on the women's side, of course, Jackson State is the #1 program in the conference. So that's going to be a tough situation. On the men's side, I think it's more of a chance where you have an opportunity. But again, they're going to have to give the coaches some time to be able to get things done. Once again, Coach Dooley, we had to reschedule, but spring football across the landscape of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Of course, I was able to attend Southern University's spring scrimmage. And one of the things, I guess the most comments are about who's going to be the quarterback. Coach Dooley said he knows who the starter is going to be coming out of the spring, but he's not going to share that with the media and Southern folks. But Bashawn McCray basically had his best practice / outing in the spring game last Saturday. Now, McDaniels, he basically was with the second unit, and he stayed there, if I can put it in those terms. McCray with the first unit. He was able to get some things done, and what he does, he brings an athleticism to that position. I'll pull it up. He threw for over 200 yards, had 100 yards rushing. McCray completed 17 of 26 passes for 231 yards. And here's a quote from Coach Dooley. "It took him 15 practices to do the things to show the reasons why I recruited him. And we expected that. We know it takes time. I have to remind myself we've only been practicing for 10 days, 11 days. It ain't going to happen that fast." But what this offense does, in just my humble opinion, it utilizes every part of the field. Running backs are involved in the passing game. You got 3 starters back on the offensive line, and then they're looking to add depth on both offensive lines and defensive line. Help is on the way. They've got players, student athletes coming in the summer, special teams. I think that's going to get corrected. I was told now from a source that the regular long snapper or the snapper wasn't the guy there. And I was told, I don't know how true this is, but Ethan Howard was snapping in the spring game. So that kind of would justify why you saw some struggles in that point. But I'm sure Coach Graves is going to get that corrected. But Charles, Bashawn McCray, junior college from Hines Community College, came in and had his best spring game. I think it is his job to lose. And Charles, I see the look on your face. I know you're a Bubba McDaniels fan, but it has been really competitive, and we'll see. But I think Bashawn McCray solidified that #1 spot coming out of the spring.
Well, when Coach Dooley said he's not ready to say, I think he just said it. I think he just said who's starting quarterback going to be. I think it'll be easy for him to say, Bubba McDaniels, he's been here, he's a veteran presence, and that's what I want at this point in time, a little bit veteran presence that's been there, done that. But by him not saying that, I think he did say he was going to be a starter. It's either two things. Either he's going to look in the portal and find a guy and get a guy ready come summer and fall, or it's going to be McCray. Because it would be very easy for him to say McDaniels, and I think some people might be comfortable with it because of the fact that he's been there, but he didn't say that. So I think he pretty much tipped his hand to me. Might be wrong about that, but and I've yes, I am a McDaniel fan. Yes, I am because I think what I've seen from him, especially in the Alcorn game, his ability to use his feet, could push the ball down the field. But I do think with a change in administration, a new coach, I think coach is going to go with the guys for the most part that they're comfortable with. Not saying he's uncomfortable with McDaniel, but I almost go out on a limb and say he's already kind of determined who his starting quarterback is going to be. He just won't say, but I think he did say. And so we'll see as time develops once you get in a fall camp, because it does change in the fall. You don't have as much time in the spring, weather and other factors, but in the fall, you got to make a decision. And I do think he already has made a decision, but he's not ready to say. To me, I do think it is McCray, Carlos, in my opinion, from 2.5 hours away from Southern's campus. I do think it is McCray, but I'm just a McDaniels fan, and we'll see how that plays out.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how everything develops. Defensive line, getting added depth, and the teams were put into gold and blue, and some of the potential starters, I'll put it that way, were on the blue team, but 33, the third team, the gold team defeated the blue team. And it was interesting. Coach Dooley and the staff, they put the spring game on like a regular football game, which we'll see in the fall. But offensively, you always know where Dooley's at. He's offensive coordinator. I think defense, Coach Miller and that staff on the defensive side, I think they'll get that straightened out. They have some pieces to add that's coming in. And one thing I will say about this defense, they're very aggressive. Trey Lang, Jordan Lewis coming off on the ends, Davis at linebacker, Derek Williams. They got some help coming in. I just like that they're aggressive. And they're going to get after people. And when you have an offense as explosive as Coach Dooley's offense potentially is going to be, and I say potentially, but we can look at his track record, then the defense, as he stated, they want to force turnovers. They want to be aggressive because they want to get the ball back to the offense. Now, two guys that stood out to me that a lot of people are not talking about. Kendrick Rhymes, he wore number 6, I believe, in the gold jersey. JUCO guy. Oh, he runs hard. You had Dillon. You had Sims, again, involved in the offense. And then Braylon Morgan. He wore number 30 in the blue. I just like the kid. Tough, locally from Catholic High School in Baton Rouge. And then they still have weapons that are coming in. So it's going to be a lot of pressure, I know, to win. But from that standpoint in the spring game, special teams, they're going to work on that. Defense, they want to add some depth. Offensively, they want to still add some pieces. And like what Coach Dooley said, when you add in the running backs and the tight ends, this offense, they're going to put up points. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at Southern University defensively, and just going back to last year, maybe we shouldn't reference that because we have a whole new administration. But clearly, Dooley's track record in terms of what he's able to do offensively, you can't question that. It is about, though, and we saw this when he was at Prairie View, he could score as many points as he wants to score, but then can you get off the field defensively? And I think that's going to be questioned for Southern University. If they're as aggressive as what's being touted out there, And if they can create turnovers and take away opportunities, then I do think that will be a good thing for them. For me, I'm not quite as much worried about the defense as I am about trying to see how this offense is going to be acclimated with a new coach and a new system. That's always the thing for me. And I love defense, but I'm an offensive guy. I love, you look at my team, the Rams, they can score as many points as they want to score, even though the defense can give up quite a bit. Aaron Donald on the field. I just like a lot of offense, and I'm anxious to see with McRae and/or McDaniel and/or the C quarterback, can they pick up those pieces and score the football? Because we've seen that teams can score. You see what Jackson State was able to do, score the football. So that's what I'm looking at, to see the acclimation. And there's going to be a period of adjustment. There's going to be acclimation. There's going to be some struggles. Clearly, that's got to be the case when you have a first year system. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But if the defense can get off the field some, I think for Southern fans, I think that's a win, because you go back to the Bayou Classic last year, they could not get off the field in the final 4 minutes of the game. You saw what happened. I think it'll be a little bit different this year. But I think for me, offensively, how long will it take for the quarterbacks to acclimate? That's what I'm looking at.
Well, that's an interesting comment. I really, just based on the spring, not with all the pieces in, and I know you're going against, the other part of your team, but I think offensively they're going to be fine. Bubba McDaniel, for the record, 12 of 22 for 222 yards. He had scoring passes of 40 yards to Kobe Hartman, 56 yards to Isaiah Taylor, junior college transfer, both in the second half. Southern's third quarterback, Harold Blood, who definitely looks the part, was 6 of 10 for 46 yards. Dooley says he isn't worried about the defense, which looks somewhat inconsistent and is still undermanned. That's why I said earlier, they have some tremendous pieces that's coming in, and they'll have an opportunity to put it together. But offensively, I really don't feel that they're going to have a problem at all. Once again, defensively, when you have offense that explosive, you want a defense to be a great. And look, I've seen the last 5 or 6 years, defensively stopping the run, sit back, read, and then react. I just kind of like what I saw Saturday. I know it's not totally 100% of what you're going to see, but you got to get after people, and you got to be aggressive. And if you force turnovers, you give the ball back to your offense, then you're looking at a short field, and then you can score. Special teams, defense, offense, in that order. But hey, we'll see what happens. We're gonna take a timeout. When I come back, I'm scheduled to talk to a former Southern University athlete. We'll see if we're able to get him. When we come back, it'll be more of the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
That spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Charles, just like in a ball game, sometimes you have to make adjustments. We're going to have to make adjustments on this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show. We were scheduled to talk with Larry Harrell Jr., former offensive lineman for Southern University, and we still may be able to get him on. If not, we'll reschedule. As you saw coming back into the show, I believe that looked like Jackson State's band. Was that not, Charles, or were you able to put your eyes on?
I couldn't tell. I thought it was Southern's band, to be honest.
Well, the angle in the stadium, I'm sure it was a visiting
I forgot about that.
band.
Yeah.
But before you know it, it'll be SWAC Football Media Day in Birmingham in July. And then before you know it, it'll be fall camp. Then it'll be the start of the season. Back to Southern's spring game. The Gold Team success could be attributed to the number one offensive line operating in front of quarterback Bashawn McCray, who we both on this show believe that unless something else happens, I think it's his job to lose. And Coach Dooley knows, and he's not going to tell. And if he was able to come on today as originally scheduled, I was going to ask, although I know the answer was going to be, I'm not telling you, Carlos. But hey, you got to ask anyway. But Center Dallas Black, Jeremiah Stafford, and Brian Williams, returning O-lineman, and then transfer Bryce McNair at left tackle and holdover Bernard Childs at right guard. Now, Sims, he rushed for 100 yards on 12 carries. He ripped off gains of 19, 30, and 21 yards, and then catching a 23-yard scoring pass for another. Coach Dooley said Sims really, really exploded today. You think he's not that home run hitter, but he does everything well. Okay, so you think he's a big back and he won't be effective catching the football. But every time you look up, he's catching a pass and making a big play out of it. Tremendous weapons. I mentioned Kobe Dillon, also the JUCO running back Kendrick Rhymes, and also Braylon Morgan. I thought they just looked good. With that, all that being said, going into the fall camps, and if Coach Dooley was on, I would have asked him now what was the pattern now going forward after spring, summer conditioning, and into fall camp. So, hey, not only did Southern have a spring game, Charles, FAMU, Alcorn State. How about the Braves? What is their situation after the spring?
Well, I think it's kind of the same as Southern University in a sense of the quarterback. Right now, we don't know at this point in time who will be the starting quarterback come September 5th against Stephen F. Austin. I don't think anything like that was even determined. And we'll have a Fred McNair show on Monday night. And just like you mentioned, you were going to ask Coach Dooley who was going to be the starter. I'm going to ask Coach McNair the same thing. I'm going to ask him who stood out. Can we name a starter at this point? Kind of already know what that's going to be like, because I do think he's trying to slow roll it a little bit. And there's some anxious moments if you're a Braves fan. For the first time in 5 years, you don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. And that's the foundation for everything. In the past, it's been a Felix Harper on standby. It's been a Noah Johnson. It's been a Lenore Footman. It's been a John Gibbs. Now you don't know. And so I think that's going to be the big question. I think in the backfield, you got Nico Duffy coming back. He had a solid spring. But I think the talk more so of this spring game was our defense. We had 4 picks. You got a first-year coordinator in Cedric Thomas, who's back at Alcorn as the second stint as a defensive coordinator. And for him to come back, kind of on the back end of things, kind of, I wouldn't say late, but he is kind of late in terms of his situation and hire, and he brought in a whole new defensive staff. So for the defense to be as aggressive and come up with turnovers, I think that's a really, really good sign for the defense. On the back end of the defense, I think we're going to be really strong with K'Ron Kinsler and company, and I think the offensive line held up in the spring. So I think the Braves do have the pieces, but I think that for the first time, we're the hunters. We're trying to get it done on the western side where there's a lot of uncertainty at the quarterback position. But I think Fred McNair's been really, really aggressive in spring practice, really getting after it, just keeping guys focused. It's not this laid back Fred McNair. I think this is a Fred McNair that really wants to get back what he lost, which was a division championship. So I think you're going to see a lot of good things for the Braves. A tough schedule, as we've talked about, Stephen F. Austin, McNeese. You got Tulane on the schedule. It's not going to be an easy schedule. I like it personally because I think you're playing all kinds of competition at all levels, but it's not going to be easy, and you got to get it going right off the gate because Stephen F. Austin is no joke. So I think you got to get these pieces. You got to be able to work it in the summer, and I do think by maybe the second week in fall camp, we'll know where our starting quarterback's going to be. You got the kid from La Tech. You got Trey Lawrence, and so there's some decisions to be made there. But they're not ready to make those decisions right now. And I kind of expect that. We'll know officially on Monday what Coach McNair's position is. But right now, I think that's the biggest question mark. Who will be under center come September 5th against Stephen F. Austin? And right now, that's TBT, to be determined.
Yeah, Charles, I don't think he will answer you, even if he knows. But, hey, you're right. You've got to ask the question. And looking at that Alcorn schedule, those first 3 games, is it fair to say, or this could be just an opinion, they could be a better team, but that schedule is awfully tough to start off. The record may not indicate it. They may be a better team. But, boy, Stephen F. Austin, Tulane, and McNeese, that's a tough way to start off the season. And if it doesn't go the way maybe some Alcorn alum think it should go, will they get down on the season if they don't get off to a good start early on?
I don't think so. I think, if you're of an
Because it's always
opinion
a
that
conference.
yes, it always is the conference. I think that's part of the reason. I think, for us, we want to get off to a good start in terms of just ironing out the kinks, as they say. It would be nice to start off in conference. Like Willie Simmons says, hey, I don't mind starting off with a conference game. And they do with Jackson State because you know right off the bat, you got to come ready to go. But I think for most coaches, they want to kind of play their way into the conference schedule. So, yes, it's not going to be easy. Tulane is no joke. I mean, they're not Alabama, but you have to look at their pretty respectable FBS opponent. Stephen F. has always been near the top of the FCS landscape. And, McNeese has always been, pretty solid on that FCS level. So, no, it's not going to be easy. But I think you'll get a chance to see where you are right off the bat. And if you can play well, be competitive, and stay injury-free in those first 3 weeks, you feel good about it the first 3 weeks, then I think you're off and running in conference. But football's a funny game. Injuries happen, stuff happens. You never know. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But with a new quarterback you're working into the system, with Elliott Radney, offensive coordinator, and Coach Phillips, who's going to be working more with the offense this year. Coach Radney will be working a lot with the quarterback. So, it'll be interesting to see how that's going to develop. But I do think that, the first few weeks of the season, we'll kind of have a good idea of where this Braves team is. Let's just hope we stay above water and stay healthy. But I like the schedule, to be honest. And I do think it's not going to be easy, but did you expect it to be easy? I mean, it works both ways. If you have a cupcake of a schedule easy, and then a cupcake of an easy schedule at the start, and then you get in the conference and get the doors blown off, then you're going to say, well, you had too easy of a schedule to start. But then if you have too tough of a schedule to start, and then you struggle, and then don't get it done in the conference, then you're going to say, well, it was too tough of a schedule to start. So I think we're playing the best of both FCS, FBS, and I do think we have an opportunity to get some things done against some quality competition. We got to come ready to play.
And with McNeese State, hey, a new head coach, a new staff. So it may be the right time and that you can go down to Lake Charles, because the last time Alcorn went to McNeese, shut them out in the second half and played them real close. So it'll be an excellent opportunity for Alcorn State. Appreciate everyone who's watching. Good morning to you. If you're in the Eastern Standard Time, it's good afternoon. Avis Heath, he says, let's go franchise. Rube Hogan says, the countdown has begun to take over Mumford East. Charles, you know what that means. That's a direct shot at Jackson State. Jarvis is laughing. Good morning, Carlos and Charles, from Michael Cavalier, Sean Derek Perkins, Theo Quest Major, and Chad Cooper is watching. So you kind of love this time of the year, although it's not football yet, but you still have baseball going on, Charles. You're wrapping up basketball. And with the baseball race, I know I've kind of been keeping a close eye, and we'll pull up the information. But FAMU, basically very hot on the diamond. They swept Bethune-Cookman. Alabama State still playing tough. Southern University got on a hot streak, and they were at the top of the Western Division standards. Then a weekend series with Prairie View was supposed to be at Lee Hines Field in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They moved the games to Prairie View, and then, boy, they got torched in game one, 12-4. So now, depending on what Grambling State did, you're looking at a tie in the Western Division. So baseball, it's in the heat of it. Alabama State, FAMU, Bethune-Cookman in the East, and you can't sleep on anybody. Then the Western Division, Southern University, Grambling, and Prairie View, and you still you have to watch for Texas Southern. So, and baseball, Charles, I think it's going to go down to the end of the conference season.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that, just because of the fact that the baseball tournament this year is later than it's normally been. Usually the mid part of May is when the baseball tournament takes place. But the baseball tournament doesn't take place until towards the end of May, because you've got the two teams that come into the conference in Bethune and FAMU and Alcorn moving to the West. So there's still there's about 5 weeks left in the season. And so I think there's still a lot of time for some things to get worked out. Jackson State's playing a little bit better right now. The Braves are playing a little bit better, even though not winning games, I think, just to play on the field. But I think the West is good. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, Gramblin's swinging a really good stick. They're scoring a ton of runs over there. So I think on the Western side, Texas Southern, I was on the TSU bandwagon early, remember, after they played Alcorn in that first series. But then they've kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit. And yeah, I jumped on their bandwagon a little bit too early. I'll admit that. So I think the West is going to be the West. I mean, I think it's the battle to make that 4 seed is going to be tough, and I think the battle to make the tournament, I think it could come down to Grambling, Prairie View, Southern. I mean, I think it's going to be a terrific race, top 4 there on the Western side. In the East, I think, you look at the surprise team, Mississippi Valley. Valley much improved. I mean, they're winning some games here, which you could pretty much write them off at this point. You can't at this point with a first-year coach, a new program there. So I think, SWAC baseball will start to generate some steam here in the next few weeks. And I think once you get into the tournament in Birmingham towards the end of May, it's going to be anybody's race, like it always is. I don't think anything has changed, even though you've added 2 new teams. I think the uncertainty of who's going to win, you can't just say so-and-so is going to win the tournament. Everybody thought Jackson State last year, 24-0 in the division, played their worst baseball last game and a half of the tournament, and they didn't get to the finish line. That just shows you how uncertain SWAC baseball is, to the detriment of some, but to the excitement of many fans. And I think that's what makes SWAC baseball really interesting and intriguing to me.
Well, and a couple of weeks ago, I was on the Bethune-Cookman bandwagon, and then they're still a tough team, but what FAMU was able to do and go in there, and they've been playing tremendous baseball. Charles, I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, April 16th, yeah, you don't know how the rest of this conference race is going to go, but in the tournament, I will say this, it's going to be exciting. And whoever gets on the hot streak for that, week, and then, in basketball, we look at the last 10 games going into the tournament, who's playing the best, who's playing well. I think you'll look at that situation in baseball. I think it's still up in the air. That tournament should be very, very exciting, and the rest of the conference race.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction right now about the tournament. I think this is going to be the highest scoring SWAC baseball tournament we've ever seen. Based on the pitching that I'm looking at, I think right now you're going to look at a lot of high-scoring games. A lot of high-scoring games. So if you love offense, if you love to see baseball teams score runs, I'll make this prediction right now. I think it's going to be a lot of teams scoring a lot of runs. Because once you get even halfway deep into a team's pitching, I just don't think it's there. I think, not saying it's bad, but I just think just the lack of depth on the pitching side of it is going to catch up with a lot of teams. So you're going to have to score a lot of runs because you're going to be giving up a lot of runs. And I think you're going to see that in this tournament. Might be wrong about that, but just based on the high-scoring games that we have seen in the regular season, I think it's going to be even more so in the tournament.
Well, I pulled up the standings, and in the East, Alabama State 11-2 in conference. They're on a 5-game winning streak. Alabama State is hot. FAMU, they lost one to Jackson State, but they're 10-4. Bethune-Cookman 9-6, although they're on a 2-game winning streak. Those 3 losses to FAMU really took some of the steam out of them. Mississippi Valley State 3-10, Alabama A&M 3-11. Now, Prairie View A&M, according to SWAC.org, 10-4, Grambling State 9-5, Southern 9-5. This is the conference. Texas Southern 7-7, Pine Bluff 4-10, Alcorn State 3-12. Prairie View A&M on a 3-game winning streak. Grambling State on a 1-game winning streak. I'm going to double check that, but according to swag.org, Prairie View is leading the West 10-4. Charles, we're going to take a timeout. When I come back, let's see if we can find Coach Pettaway. He's scheduled to join us next. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm. Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, 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 motivation.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Yeah, I think that was the sonic boom of the South there. But because I cover the Southwestern Athletic Conference, that is fine. We need to get all the bands involved on the show. Welcome back to hour number 2 of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Let me say this before I visit with Coach Pettaway, and we appreciate his time. The swag standings that I gave to you, disregard them. I'm going to have to go back at them and give you the correct information. That's not right. And thanks to a listener and a watcher of the show, Ralph. He informed me that it's not correct. So I'll come back with the correct standings before the show is out. Coach Pettaway, good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, Carlos. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, last week didn't have a show. Boy, I talked about an hour number one, and I informed you last week what was the deal. But somebody's going to adjust my bill. That's all I'm hoping for. Coach Pettaway, technology is a good thing, but sometimes it can throw you a curve. And the human element is still prevalent. Snap my line without repercussions. We shall see about that. Coach, the last time we talked to you, we had some predictions. I hadn't forgot about it. What in the hell did I thought? What did I think about picking Villanova to win it, the NCAA basketball tournament? And Charles, I was wrong. I was wrong, but Kansas gets it done. I think your prediction wasn't right either. Or I think Coach Pettaway. I think both of you guys had Duke, huh?
Yep.
Right. I went with the sentimental favorite. I wanted Coach K to go out on top, but it wasn't. That was not in the cards.
Well, his long coaching career is over with, and I guess he'll, retire. Maybe he'll contact you, Coach Pettaway, and you can reminisce about today's game going forward. Because, man, Coach, the transfer portal. I was told that Sadler for Southern University is in the transfer portal. Hadn't been able to confirm that just yet, but.
Yeah, this is the ugly side of that portal. You got so many kids, and what they need to look at, and if I was, still in the game now, I would let them look at what happened last year. There were still, after everything was all said and done, there were still close to 400 kids that did not find a home after they got in the portal. So it's not a sure thing when you join that portal. So that's one of the things that if I was coaching now, I would put out in front of my kids to let them know, a lot of times you think the grass is green on the other side, but you might not be able to make that trip to the other side. So you better stay with what you got. You already have a sure thing where you are. So that's one of the things that I will put out there to those young athletes.
Well, Coach, true opinion, true perspective. Now, with Alabama A&M, get your thoughts on that. Head men's basketball coach, the timetable now, is it getting closer to an announcement?
Right. I think that we're going to make an announcement on Monday. They're still finishing up the interviewing process, and right now the timetable is set for them to name a coach on Monday, which will still give that coach an opportunity with the signing date starting this past Wednesday. That coach will have an opportunity to still bring in some players, because right now you got 6 or 7 kids from Alabama A&M in the portal. So his first job is to convince those kids that to remain on campus or stay at Alabama A&M, because if he were to do that, he'd have a great nucleus coming back. I mean, Jalen Johnson, everybody's looking at him as being a senior next year, but you got to remember, he still has this COVID year. So you could really have him for 2 more seasons, along with Garrett Hicks and along with Tucker, because all those guys came in together. So the future looks bright. If we can get that coach named on Monday, that should give him ample time to get some additional players in there. And if we can pull this off, this would probably be the quickest search that I've seen since they hired me.
Interesting. Want to get your thoughts as we move on. We're still going to be, talking about basketball coaches. Burnett Skeets, named head women's basketball coach at Texas Southern. Get your thoughts on that hire, and do you know her from the coaching profession?
No, I do not. I do not know her personally, but I guarantee you Texas Southern has vetted her. I guarantee you Texas Southern feels comfortable with their hire. And, they got a lot. She's going to have the resources that she needs at Texas Southern now because they do have they have established the model in the SWAC for both men and women's basketball. And I think that if she can put a good staff together, I think she'll probably be successful at Texas Southern.
Charles, what do you think, Director of Athletics, Intercollegiate Athletics, Mr. Granger at Texas Southern, played collegiately basketball. Is that an advantage when you have a Director of Athletics that's a basketball guy? And because Texas Southern basketball, their brand, they've won. Is it a help to have a AD that's a basketball guy?
Absolutely. I mean, Kevin Granger played at Texas Southern, one of the best backcourt players Texas Southern has ever seen. And so he knows what it looks like. He knows what it feels like. He knows what it tastes like. So he understands that. And so I do think Texas Southern went through the process, someone that's very familiar with the state of Texas. I do think that, Burnett Skeet has done a nice job of building a portfolio. And so I think she's hungry and ready for that opportunity. Was it a surprise to a lot of people? Yeah, because you heard through the grapevine, maybe Tamika Reed at Jackson State was ready to take that opportunity. Her name was vetted out there for several days. Yeah, her name was vetted. Yeah. Ralph Cooper, Ralph Cooper, one of the great talk show hosts in Houston, mentioned her name, as it's time, to make that transition. But it didn't happen, obviously. But I do think, Burnett Skeet, I knew her when she was a player at Alcorn. And I've looked at her resume. I didn't know what her resume was until the other day. And I think she is ready for the opportunity. I do think it's going to come with a little pressure because Texas Southern women's basketball has been top 3, top 4, and the expectation is they're going to have to continue that. But I do think, giving Burnett Skeet the opportunity to build it her way, I think the players are there. The facilities are there, the fan base is there, and I do think, you get all that behind you. Texas Southern women's basketball is a great place to be, and I do think if she gets out of the gate strong, I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, Charles, I'm just like you. I think anytime you can get an athletic director who has been a coach, who's been through the struggle, they understand what the coaches go through and what they need, and I think it gives them that personal touch, that personal feeling for that program. And then the only difference that's happening now in the SWAC, years ago when we first got into SWAC, the athletic directors were primarily football coaches. And now that thing has turned over to where a lot of the ADs in the league are basketball coaches. Now you're seeing the rise of basketball in the SWAC. And I think it's a good thing when you can have an athletic director who has been in the struggle. I think that really helps.
Case in point, guys. Case in point, Ashley Robinson, AD at Jackson State, former basketball player. Kevin Granger, athletic director, former basketball player. Roman Banks, former basketball coach. So you are seeing that trend. So when it comes to their sport, they understand what it looks like, and so I think that's a really good deal. And I think Texas Southern kind of took their time with it. I mean, I think Coach Cooper made that announcement fairly quickly that she was retiring. So I think she gave, Texas Southern an opportunity to kind of get after it right away. And they did that. And I thought they made a really good hire.
And also Dr. Cable, basketball guy.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And then even though Reggie Theus didn't play in the SWAC, he's basketball player and a coach also. So as the athletic director at Bethune-Cookman. So I think it's a win-win.
It's a win-win, and I'm not going to put any pressure on them just because they're director of athletics and they have a basketball background. But guess what, Coach? We all will be looking at the rise of the basketball programs. Now, Tony Matlock, head men's basketball coach now at Alabama State, arch rival of Alabama A&M, comes from South Carolina State. Get your thoughts on that hire, Coach. I think we may have lost Coach. But Charles, that, coming from South Carolina State, just an opportunity. And I don't know if you would consider that a lateral move, but what we just talked about with SWAC basketball and it's on the rise, this is a great opportunity for Coach Madlock.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Cable, again, former basketball player at Alcorn, was an assistant men's coach at Alcorn. So he knows, and him and I have had a lot of conversations about, his basketball philosophy in terms of scheduling. If he were a head coach, or how he would schedule if he were an AD. This was before he got all that, what his philosophy is. So again, I think he's chomping at the bit, waiting for this opportunity to be able to hire his first men's basketball coach. So I do think that Dr. Cable, along with the Bama State Board, I think they did a lot of vetting there. And I do think it's a little bit better situation with Bama State because of facilities. I mean, the Acadome is still a heck of a facility. I mean, they keep that thing up. And I think that the Montgomery, Birmingham pipeline is there, the Georgia pipeline, you're only 170 miles from Atlanta. I think, he comes in there, uses some of his MEAC connections, bring him over to Montgomery, along with the state, along with Birmingham, along with Atlanta. I think it's enough players where he can build that program. And I think if you look at the program now, I mean, you have nowhere to go but up, because it has been down the last couple of years, unfortunately. I mean, Mo Williams did the best he could with it. But just to be honest, the program, need a little bit of a boost. And I think it's a good situation to walk into. I don't think it's as much pressure. I think in 3 years, if the program's mid-level, top 4, top 5, I think it's mission accomplished in terms of the program stability. We'll see, but that's the way I look at it.
Right. And Carlos, I know, I guess you jinxed us saying that, that I got in real good, but it went out on me. But I think your question is about Tony Madlock at Alabama State. Now, I know him personally, and I knew him from his time with Andy Kennedy. He's been in a couple of places, Ole Miss, UAB. He's been in a couple of places with Andy Kennedy. And the big thing is his recruiting base is in the South. So I think that's going to help. That's going to help him at Alabama State. He did a nice job up there first year at South Carolina State. So I think him coming to the SWAC is going to be a big win for Jason Capel for his first basketball hire. And we're just looking forward to the competition. I think it's going to be a good year in the SWAC. You got these new coaches that I'm guarantee you, these veteran coaches, they're going to try to indoctrinate them the right way. They're going to welcome them to the SWAC the right way. So I'm excited about it. I like the hire, and I'm looking forward to the hire that we come up with at Alabama A&M.
It's going to be interesting because, your rivals, you're going to have 2 new head men's basketball coach. Yep. Coach, talk to us about the state of Alabama. I know about Louisiana, an unknown opinion. It's known as a football state. Alabama as football as well, but basketball-wise, a lot of talent in Louisiana, and I'm thinking it's a lot of talent in Alabama. Correct, Coach?
Yes, we've the basketball, high school basketball in the state of Alabama has really grown, and that has helped the programs in Alabama. You got to think about it now. We had 4 or 5 teams that were in the big dance from the state of Alabama, so you can see that the basketball talent in the state has really progressed and grown. And I look forward to both new coaches, being able to tap into that pool of high school and junior college players in this state. And also, if they got the juice, to get in that transfer portal and get some people. I think the quick fix is going to be through that transfer portal. I really feel sorry for a lot of the high school players because most coaches are going for the quick fix, especially in the SWAC. When you look at what Alcorn did and what Texas Southern did in terms of that portal, we're in a copycat league. So a lot of the programs are going to try to do the same thing to get that quick fix like these programs did in terms of establishing a veteran team so they can win right away.
And Carlos and Coach, here's something else. I posted something on Facebook the other day roughly 2,100 players and counting in D1 and D2 basketball transfer portal. 2,100 players in that portal and counting. That's a whole heck of a lot.
Right.
And it's too many.
And a lot
I
of
agree.
them will not find a home.
Right. And you know, I've still been talking to, you know, parents who have, you know, student athletes that are looking for scholarships, and they're telling me how, you know, the landscape has changed as far as trying to get them. They've been asking me about Division II, Division III, NAIA. Coach, I just told them if that's where it ends up taking your student, your kids, hey, you have to go for it. You
if you
really
get your
do.
education paid for, it doesn't matter what level you're playing on. The primary goal is to get an education. So if that place is offering scholarship money where they don't have to come out of their pocket, you need to be happy and glad in it, and get it done, because the degree is the most important thing of all these athletes going off to college. They got to have it. They got to get it.
That is correct. And guys, something historic happened. It hadn't happened in a long time. A young lady at Jackson State, Coach.
Yep.
She got drafted.
Number 31.
I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for her, Coach Reed, and the staff, and still the #1 women's basketball program in the Southwestern Athletic Conference for Jackson State. Talk about the significance of that.
I think she can use that as a recruiting tool. She can go to into these homes and say, well, see, it doesn't matter where you go to school. If you can come up and put up the numbers, you can still get drafted in the WNBA. And she's got a prime example of that. So to me now, during this recruiting cycle, she needs to use that to the max. She needs to do that, to use that to help her in these homes. And I think that's a great accomplishment. That makes the SWAC look good. And we will get some more of those top-notch players, because they'll say, if Miss Holiday Williams can do it, so can I.
And Miss Williams going to the WNBA, how's her game is going to change, or if it's going to change, and how will she develop in the WNBA, in your opinion?
I think she'll make the adjustment. Now, one thing that's going to happen to her, and I think we saw that a little bit of that early in the game against LSU. In the SWAC, she's not used to seeing people her size every game. So, you know, most of the people that she played against in the SWAC, she was able to overpower them. She's going to have her power game, but she's going to have to develop a counter move and have another more finesse to her game. But I think she'll be successful because she got what all coaches are looking for. She's got a heart and a motor. And I think that's going to help her translate well to the WNBA.
And, you know, I think even from off the court, I think, you know, she'll pay a lot of attention with nutrition and training, you know, and all that. Because, you know, you look at it, she's a tall person, but I really believe she'll be able to get it done. It's all about making adjustments. Now she's to the next level. And I wish her the best, and everybody's pulling for her to succeed.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm happy not only for her, I'm happy for Jackson State, and more importantly, I'm happy for the conference. I mean, to get a player drafted. I mean, you know, we talked about that with football. I mean, the NFL draft is coming up. We'll see if that provides some dividends as well. But, you know, to have Amisha Williams-Holiday get drafted, I mean, she was dominant at Jackson State. There was no question about it. It started and stopped with her. And not only that, they got pieces around her to make her job a little bit easier. So I am just so happy for everybody involved that she got drafted. Now we'll see if she can get it done at the next level. That's where I'm at right now. But clearly she deserved to be drafted. I thought she was terrific in this league, dominant. And now can she do that at the next level? I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I think everybody is going to be behind her. And Jackson State, Coach Reed and that staff, they've already got some height and some talent already in. Hey, everyone else, their job is to be competitive and try to close that gap. Coach Pettaway, speaking of closing the gap, have you seen any of the play-in games for the NBA? A lot of excitement. Kind of get your thoughts on that, and as we get into games today.
Right, your Miami Heat gotta come with it because they get ready to play against Atlanta, and right now Trae Young is finding that thing up from everywhere. He's shooting from the locker room. He's playing real well. So Miami's got to be on their P's and Q's. This is going to be exciting playoffs. I think Dallas has been dealt a bad blow, a terrible blow. If they don't have Luka on the floor, they're not going anywhere. If Golden State does not have Curry 100%, they're not going anywhere. So between your Miami Heat, they're probably going to have a battle in the East because Philadelphia, they're looking real well. You can never tell about the Nets, but I think in the out West, I'm going to bank on Phoenix Suns right now. I think Phoenix is going to be the team that's going to surprise. Well, they're not going to surprise anybody because they had the best record in the league, but I think they're going to be playing well. If they stay healthy, I can see Phoenix representing the West. And on the East side, it's going to be a toss-up. Those teams are so close. I think it's going to be a toss-up in the East.
I'm going to be honest with you, Coach Pettaway and Charles. I love my Heat, and I notice no one is really talking about them. They may be considered one of the, I won't say weakest number ones in recent history because they got the number one. But I'm going to say Milwaukee is still the team to beat, and I would not be surprised if it's a rematch of the NBA Finals. I'm hoping my Miami Heat are able to come out of there, but man, my heart says Miami, but my mind says watch out for the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks, and a lot of the prognosticators, they are crowning the Nets. I don't think the Nets defensively they're just not there yet. And then, Coach Pettaway, he talked about injuries. Capella went down last night. Then Williams for Boston. But no one's really talking about Boston and the Heat. Boston defensive rating number one in the NBA. So we shall see, Charles. What do you think? And don't talk about the Lakers, Charles, their history.
I have absolutely nothing to say. I have because my dog is in the hunt. The sorry Lakers, and that's about as good as I can get. I mean, wow. This is a family show, Carlos. This is a family show, and so I'm being very nice, talking about the fact that the Lakers are not in it, and all the drama and all the mess that's going on behind the scenes with that Laker organization. And so, that being said, I really like Phoenix. I like Monty Williams. I'm a Monty Williams fan. You got Devin Booker, you got Chris Paul. I mean, just if you know Monty Williams' story, he lost his wife and was out of the game, and just for him to come back and he's very, very respectful of the game and the players. I just like Monty Williams and the way he's built that team. So I'm a big Phoenix fan. I'm always a fan of the defending champion until they're no longer the champion. Not a lot of people talk about Milwaukee, and didn't they win the championship last year? No one's really talking about them. Why? I don't know.
Everybody's talking about the Nets.
And that's because of KD and Kyrie and all the drama, the James Harden mess and all that. I get that, and they're playing in the world's largest media market and all that. I get that. And hey, Kyrie has looked terrific of late. The Nets have looked really, really good when Kyrie is focused and locked in and ready to go and healthy. I think the Nets are a tough team, but I'm still a big Giannis fan. I'm going with the defending champs in Milwaukee because of the fact no one's talking about them. Everyone's talking about Brooklyn. I'm fine with that. If you're a big fan of defending champs, I think Giannis will say, hey, talk about Kyrie and KD all you want, but who hoisted that trophy last year? We did. So, hey, overlook us if you want, but I still think in the East, I still like Milwaukee. I think Miami, with Jimmy Buckets, I think a lot of things have to go right. They're the number 1 seed, but I'm not convinced they're going to get all the way there. I do like a rematch of last year with Milwaukee and Phoenix. Even though I tell you what, the Pelicans, my goodness, the Pelicans started with 3-16.
Yeah.
They're only the 4th team in the NBA to start that poorly and make the playoffs. Man, I think what Coach Green, that speech he had going into the 4th quarter was legendary stuff, in terms of encouraging his team in that 4th quarter. So, I think it's going to be a great playoff run, but I'm going with the 2 teams that I rated last year in the East, Milwaukee, and the West, Phoenix. That's just, I don't think Curry's going to be 100%. And as Coach Pettaway said, if he's not 100%, I can see him getting out of round 1, but round 2, I don't know if he's not 100%. So I'm going with Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Yep.
I'll say this, Coach Pettaway. I wouldn't be surprised for the Eastern Crown. It's Milwaukee and Miami, and Milwaukee winning it. And speaking of the Pelicans, yeah, Coach Green probably as great of a job since Williams was the head coach. Monty, that was at the Pelicans, and then Zion Williams. Coach, if you could talk with him, what are you telling him? I mean, in one hand, it seems like maybe his days are numbered in New Orleans, or he doesn't want to be there. His conditioning, people are still joking about it. A very talented person. Is it something else that's going on maybe that we don't know about? And Coach, don't say the good food in New Orleans, because you were there recently. And I didn't see you go nuts.
Right. Well, I think what has to happen, somebody's got to reach him. He's got to invest in a nutritionist and a trainer and be serious about it. If he wants an NBA career, those 2 things are a must for him. He's got to take care of his body. He's got to reduce some of that stress on his lower extremities. And the only way he's going to do that is through a nutritionist and a trainer. And then we can see the guy that was drafted at the top of the draft. That's the only way he's going to survive in this league, whether it's at New Orleans or another team. I don't think the location is going to be the difference. I think the change of a mindset is what's going to keep him in the league. He's got to change the mindset. He's got to change the people that are around him, because somebody's not advising him right, or he's probably getting the right advice. He's not listening to them.
Yeah. Well, a tremendous talent. You just want to see him be the best that he can be. And I agree with you, Coach, a nutritionist and a trainer. And I also say the same thing with Anthony Davis. He just can't stay healthy. That's the bottom line with that. And then also Vogel. He gets fired, and I'm listening to the prognosticators talking about it wasn't his fault. It was management with the bad decisions that they made, and now you're hearing rumors about who's going to be the next coach. Usually I would say who would want to come into such a mess, but there's always some. I'm hearing Mark Jackson. You're hearing, the head coach. I'm having a middle-aged moment for the Dallas Mavericks.
Carlisle. Jason Kidd.
Yeah, Jason Kidd. Yeah, he's there now. Who will want to come in that mess when management has made some bad decisions, and then you have a player's input that is very special in the decision making? What do you think, Coach?
That's going to be a tough job, because LeBron is trying to be the player and the GM, and that's not working out. I think, with all his greatness, I don't think he's been a very coachable person. I think his influence on the teams that he's played on has been a bit much. If he's trying to pattern himself after Mike, I don't think Michael Jordan did some of the things that LeBron is doing now when it comes to management. He was not as vocal. Michael Jordan was not as vocal when it came to personnel decisions. And I think that's part of the game that if LeBron wants his legacy to be a great one, he's got to back off, man. And then plus, he's at that age now where he doesn't have too many years left. So I don't know of a coach that would want to put that kind of pressure on themselves by coming into that situation. I know I wouldn't.
I can think of one.
Who?
I can think of one coach. His name has come up in the past. His name is John Calipari. Now, you know what he's done at Kentucky. He has a huge buyout at Kentucky. I read a story a couple weeks ago. His buyout at Kentucky is $92 million. That's his buyout. Now, no one's going to buy him out with that. But I think if Cal decides to give some money back to get an opportunity to coach LeBron and the Lakers, I think Cal will take it in a heartbeat, because I think he's done all he probably could do at Kentucky. He's won the championships. He sent players to the NBA. He's done all he can do. But I think he wants to get another bite at the apple. I think he wants to get another bite at the NBA. He did so with New Jersey Nets. It didn't exactly work out, but I do think with LeBron and LA and the bright lights and all that other stuff, I think Cal can come in there and settle that thing down enough to where I think players will listen to him, and I think it'll be a better situation. Someone had to go in LA. I mean, I agree it shouldn't have been Frank Vogel, but someone's going to have to go, whether it was the GM or the coach. It was the coach. I think everybody knew that was going to happen. But now where do you leave yourself? Who wants the job? Brad Stevens was asked about it the other day. He said, I'm not going to LA, and now we can have another conversation. His name came up.
Wise decision.
Yeah. But I think if there's one coach that's in college right now that would take that challenge and feel like he can get it done, it's Cal. Now, whether or not he wants to leave Kentucky or not, I don't know. I think he's got a really good situation, but I think he's done all he could do there. I think deep down, if you were in his living room and he were brutally honest, as you like to say, Carlos, he wants another crack at the NBA. And I think that situation, the Lakers, nowhere to go but up. I think he feels like he can clean it up enough. Those players will listen to him. LeBron will listen to him. And I think he'll get LA to the next level in a couple of years, maybe a championship. That's just me. But that David Fizdale and John Calipari are the two names that come to mind for me. That would be, because Fizdale was at Miami when LeBron was there. He respects David Fizdale. He's on that Lakers staff right now. So I think those are the two names I would look at. But, whether it happens or not, I don't know. But John Calipari is the one name for me, because his name has come up the last 2 or 3 years when it comes to LeBron and a coach, whether it's at Cleveland, now in LA. You hear Cal's name bantered about. And I think his name has been mentioned. Whether or not there's any serious conversations, I don't know.
Well, there's some Kentucky fans that would hope he would take that job, because they're not happy with where Kentucky's landed the last few years. So, but that's a big buyout. I don't think an NBA team, they're not gonna make that kind of investment in no coach. Now that they gotta be part of that $92 million buyout, they're not doing that. He's not working.
And I think the players there, and then they got to overhaul the roster. It's older. I think they would chew Calipari up and spit him out. It's got to be the right fit, and I think his niche is on the collegiate level. Charles, I almost was stunned when you said that. If you just said Coach K, I probably would have fell out of this chair. But it's a mess. And hopefully they're going to get it straight, and they got to do it ASAP. But we shall see. Coach Pettaway, enjoy your holiday tomorrow. We appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk again. We'll talk again real soon. We'll probably wrap it up next week with, maybe we'll go on to the NBA Finals. How about that?
Okay, that'll work. Well,
all
thank
right.
you guys. Everybody be safe and God bless.
Same to you, Coach.
All right.
That was Coach Van Pettaway here on the Carlos Brown Show. We're going to take a timeout. I'm scheduled to visit with Brandon B.J. Jones to kind of get his thoughts on all of the spring games as we go into the summer and get ready for the fall. Charles, I guess people are going to be excited. Football is going to be back. And one thing you can see right now, only a few teams have established quarterbacks coming back. Texas Southern, Jackson State, I believe University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, but then everyone is trying to pencil in, work their way into having a starter at quarterback. So we'll talk about that next. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
That spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like.
Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
scratchy? Family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, 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 motivation.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
That spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you. All of it.
Now, I know, BJ, good afternoon. I know you can hear the difference, the sound, how vibrant, it's loud, it's clarity. Thank you, Melody, for truly getting the #1 band in the conference, not the Sonic Boom of the South, on the show. Good afternoon, BJ. How you doing?
Man, doing pretty good, Carlos. How's it going?
It's going fine. We've had to make some adjustments on today's show, but hey, it's like in a football game or basketball game. You got to make adjustments sometime on the fly. Spring games throughout the conference. Kind of get your thoughts on Alcorn, FAMU, Southern University, Texas Southern has had a spring game. Jackson State's forthcoming. So your former football player, collegiate football player, those spring games, do we make too much of them or we should make a lot about them?
People make too much of them. It's hard to evaluate teams based on what you see in the spring game. Reason being is, as a defensive or offensive player, I've seen that defense, I've seen that offense, I've seen that formation all spring. I can cheat a little bit. I know when they go trips this side and that back is right there, I know what play is coming. I can cheat a little bit. And you know, with familiarity, you know, you're going against your teammates. You know, things are different. There are different scenarios. Hey, we're going, this is going to be a second or a third and long. This is the defense. This is the look I want you guys to give us, and so forth. So I think people put way too much in. Now, what you can see is individual talent. You can see guys, you can see the individual talent, but when you're trying to grade a unit and an entire team, it is so difficult to do for spring games.
With that being said, very interesting. What did you think about Southern's spring game? Coach Dooley basically said, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think for Southern, I think from the quarterback position, I think we saw McCray really kind of take a step forward. You saw what he was able to do. It was nice to see the different receivers on that roster. The talent that's there. You can see that talent on the offensive side of the football as well as the defensive side of the football. The biggest question is, how does it all come together? Looks like there's going to be some opportunities on the interior defensive line and defensive tackles. Not a lot of depth there. So we'll see what happens during the summer, you know, how the transfer portal looks and so forth. And did at the quarterback position, did McCray do enough to solidify himself, you know, or, you know, the Southern, you know, kind of take a peek in the portal and kind of see what's out there. I know for FAMU, the quarterback who transferred from Vanderbilt looks solid. FAMU, for the pieces that they lost, they seem to have replaced those. You look at the guys that they're replacing, whether it's Bell in the secondary, the tailback position, them losing the young man, I forget his name, #1, there. They seem like they've done a great job. And I think one of the spring games that people forget about is Alcorn. Alcorn looks like a physical Alcorn football team. And that was something that was missing from Alcorn last year, if we're being honest. But it looks like that's something that's back with them, is something that they have. So I think that there's a lot of young guys, names that may not be familiar now that are going to be household names once the season starts. And I think there's a lot of young talent in the conference, particularly at Southern, FAMU, and Auburn.
Well, we've talked about this on the show earlier and then previously. You look at teams that are trying to find a quarterback or quarterbacks. I could only think of Jackson State, Texas Southern, I believe University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Anybody else that's bringing experience back at quarterback, or most of the teams trying to find that piece for their football team?
Yeah, I think when you look across the conference, I think a lot of teams are trying to find that piece. I mean, outside of Jackson State, Texas Southern, I think Alcorn's going to be bringing in a new guy. Southern looks like it may, potentially be a new guy if it's not McDaniel. Grambling bringing in new guy. Alabama State was a revolving door at quarterback, so it's possibly you're going to get new guy at Alabama State, Alabama A&M, going to get new guy. There are going to be a lot of new faces under center or behind center in the Southwestern Athletic Conference when we kick this thing off in the fall.
Charles, what about the Alcorn alums and fans? And the reason I'm bringing this up, 6-5 last year, high expectations, and you mentioned earlier in the first hour with Coach McNair, he seems to have a little bit of edge on him now. He's a low-key type of guy, but it seems like he has upped his enthusiasm and his personality. Is it because of it was not a typical Alcorn season based on the success that they've had the last few years?
I think that, and just the whole thing of us not playing, in the spring, I think that's still lingering out there. And for the first time in 5 years, we don't know who our quarterback's going to be. And I think that those three things are part of the reason why McNair is a little bit on edge, as you can expect. I think any coach that's not on edge this time of year is not a coach to me. But I think that, we've been spoiled. Braves fans have been spoiled. 6 straight division titles. That's not going to happen again. I don't think at any level in college football, I don't think. But so I think we've just been so used to being up there. We're so used to being in that spotlight, and we weren't. So now you're not, you didn't have a great year. You had some bad losses towards the end of the season, Southern, Bethune-Cookman, that's sitting in the craw of a lot of Braves fans. The Jackson State game was there for the taking last year in the second half. Didn't get that done. That's not going to sit well with Braves fans. So you look at that. You look at the fact you didn't win the division title, first year in the West. And now you're looking at this year, and I know Coach McNair knows this because he's a part of it. You don't know who's going to be the quarterback, just like other teams. So he feels like he needs to get some sort of edge. It's hard to determine right now. And I agree with BJ. I do think the spring is for fans who just want to see some football. But anyone outside of maybe Alabama and a few other teams that could say, we know who our starting quarterback's going to be. And, of course, for the SWAC, you got Texas Southern. You got Bowdoin, you got Body. You don't know. I mean, Body, really looked good at Texas Southern. I think he's got a bright future there, Shedeur Sanders. So I think, with no quarterback, no chance. You got to have a serviceable quarterback. Southern's trying to figure that out. We're trying to figure that out. A lot of teams trying to figure that out. So I do think a number of things have factored into Coach McNair being a little bit on edge. We didn't get there last year, had some tough and some bad losses towards the end, and just struggled, to get it done. And so I think that being said, considering that we're used to being up there, now it's kind of a rebuild and a rebrand. And now we'll, for the first time in 5 years, we don't know who our quarterback's going to be. And I think it does have a lot of Braves fans on edge, considering how Jackson State just, propelled themselves to the SWAC championship. Coach Sanders in 13 months on the job, he wins the SWAC championship. I mean, just look at the calendar when he was hired, 13 months. He won the SWAC championship, won the East, went to the Celebration Bowl. He talked the talk and they walked the walk. So now you're looking at all of that, and you're looking at their recruiting class and what they've got coming back. And you got Sanders in the second year. So it's a lot of things in the bag there, and so you don't want to fall further behind than where you are. So you want to get that edge to try to stay where you are and build on it. And it starts with a quarterback. So I think, there's a lot of factors as to why fans are on edge in Brave Nation. That tough schedule, open up with Stephen F., Tulane, McNeese. That's not going to be easy right out of the gate. So I think it's just a lot of things in the bag, but I do think Fred McNair will figure it out. And I have been a Fred McNair fan for years. I think he will figure it out. It's not going to be easy, but he will figure this thing out and get us back to where we probably should be. But it's not going to be easy, no doubt about that.
And BJ, Charles mentioned about Jackson State, and I think and some may agree or disagree. I think the motivation for them, they won a championship. They did it in a short time, but the way they ended last season, I think that's the motivation for Coach Sanders against South Carolina State. They got flat out taken to the woodshed. So, to me, don't you think that's the motivation for Jackson State? The way they ended the season last year in the Celebration Bowl, and then also now they're going from being the hunter to being hunted.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I would probably make an argument that they were probably hunted all year last year, probably after week 2, just because of the hype. But I think that for Jackson State, I think this is going to be a telling year for them. For all the talent on that football team and everything that football team accomplished, they were a possession or 2 away from 4 or 5 losses. It was Alcorn, with Southern, with Mississippi Valley. They didn't just run roughshod over the SWAC. And having those 2 weeks off and playing South Carolina State and the way that ball game ended, I think that put us a sour taste in the mouths of Jackson State fans and their coaching staff. So I think that staff and that football team has something to prove. But I think you also have the other 11 teams in the conference that also have something to prove to Jackson State, and and then try to swing those one possession ball games that they had late. Try to swing them in the other direction to dethrone Jackson State.
Yeah, because I can go back to A.W. Mumford Stadium. A first down or 2 by McDaniels, throwing to open receiver, you convert those third downs, you're able to, eat that clock up. FAMU, the first game, albeit it was a defensive struggle, albeit it was the first game. So, yeah, I think a lot of teams want to be more competitive. And I think you're going to see a very, very tough season across the board. And it's also a lot of pressure, BJ. 1 or 2 losses, you could be out of the conference race. So with that being said, who do you think has the most pressure as far as head coach and team? We just talked about Jackson State. Is it Jackson State? But who else has a lot of pressure?
I think it's going to be Alabama A&M also. Alabama A&M may have gone – I think Akil Glass, when we go back and look at it, is probably going to be the best quarterback that we've had in this conference and in quite some time. And people are going to say that Alabama A&M underachieved with him under center. The one championship that they had was a COVID-shortened season. You didn't play everyone. There was 3 regular season games. But during we had full seasons, we didn't accomplish a lot. People are going to remember them getting ran out of the building by Alabama A&M, by Jackson State, the losses to Grambling and Florida A&M. I think it's going to be Alabama A&M. I think that with that ball club, we saw what they were able to do in the portal. Alabama A&M fans are going to want it, and they're going to want it now. It's going to be like J.D. Whitmer. We want it now. We want to be able to knock off Jackson State. We want to be able to do it now. And I think that a lot of Bulldog fans are expecting a championship run this year.
And BJ and Charles, and if you look at it, it looks like they've copied the blueprint of Jackson State for the transfer portal, getting a lot of Division I players coming in. So BJ, you're absolutely right. A lot of pressure. Arkansas Pine Bluff was in the spring championship game. They fell off pretty bad. Then Prairie View, a new head coach, but he was been on the staff. No one's really talking about Prairie View, the defending West champions. So once again, pressures all across the board. And then I'll even throw out Mississippi Valley State. There's some pressure because, look, they played everybody tough. Everybody said, wow, they were this close. Now, consistency. Can they back it up with a even better year?
For me, I would say the two coaches that are under the most pressure is Dooley at Southern and Willie Simmons at Florida A&M. So I'm gonna step back from that and I look at Alabama A&M. What Glass did was tremendous, but now you got to rebuild that thing. And yes, they've recruited well, but I'm not expecting the same type of high energy, octane offense this year than what we've seen in the past. I'm not expecting that. This is my opinion. I think it's going to be a rebuild on the offensive side of the ball. But I think for Dooley, considering what he did at Grambling as coordinator, what he did at Prairie View, and now coming to Southern, I think there's some expectations that Southern's got to be in the mix. I think, a lot of, and you all know this better than me because you're all the Jaguars, I think the expectations that anything less than being in the mix going to the Bayou Classic is probably unacceptable at Southern University. That's just my opinion, even though I'm in the West now. And I think Willie Simmons at FAMU, I mean, I said this this time last year, whoever loses that Jackson FAMU game, it's going to be kicking themselves at the end of the year. And FAMU did because they lost to Jackson State in week 1 with a freshman quarterback named Shedeur Sanders. I think for FAMU, the expectation is that they got to win that game in Miami this year. They got to get it done because if not, you don't know whether or not Jackson's going to lose one. I mean, you just don't because Shedeur Sanders is going to get better. I think at Valley, you got Coach Dooley. They won, not Coach Dooley, Coach Dancy, you won 3 games. There was some speculation whether or not he would survive. I think the Valley administration did the right thing by giving him more time because if you start over again, you go from 3 wins to 1 win. You're probably starting over again. I think Valley administration doesn't want to do that. I think the competitive games against FAMU and Jackson State kind of helped, Coach Dancy, solidify some confidence from the administration to give him some more time. And I thought that was the right move to make. And he was the talk of the league despite just the 3 wins. So I think there's some pressure for him to win more than 3 games, which I think they can do. But I think that the coaches under the pressure the most, I think is Coach Dooley because of his track record. And I think Willie Simmons at Florida A&M. Those are the 2 coaches to me that have the most pressure.
Wait a minute, Charles. I didn't hear Coach McNair. What you have Coach McNair on there? Oh no! Charles. No.
Come on. Okay, let me.
Wait a minute. All of the success that they've had, and then the first year in the West, and then 6-5, and I love him to death, but I would put him in the top 3 with pressure. BJ, you agree with me, or you agree with Charles?
I think that Alcorn fans are a little antsy because the championship didn't leave the state, and you're a lot less patient when it's your rival that's the big dog now. I think if Jackson State didn't win the title last year, let's say that title went to the Prairie View, I think it might be a little bit easier in Lorman. But with Jackson State, with that momentum, when your rival's doing well, man, everybody is on edge.
I get that. I completely agree with it. And considering he's been on the job 13 months, yes, that didn't set well with Braves fans. I do get that. But I also think that the cachet, as another commentator likes to say, when you won 6 straight division titles and you've been there, and you don't have a great year, it is disappointing. I just don't. I think Coach McNair has opportunity to fix it, and I think he will. But I just think the expectation is for us to win the thing every year, and it just doesn't. The reality is, it just doesn't happen for whatever reason. Injuries, other stuff going on. You just don't play well. I just think it just happens. So we're looking at the one bad year, but at the same time, no one's talking about winning 6 straight division titles. Everyone's talking about the one bad year, and that's fandom. I get that. So I'm looking at the 6 division titles that we won, but I'm not necessarily looking that much in the one that we lost, considering we're going to have a new defensive coordinator, a whole new staff on the defensive side, which we do. And for the first time, you don't know who the quarterback's going to be. It's going to be some uncertainty. It just happens. Now, Shedeur Sanders was the exception, not the rule. So I think that we have to look at that and just relax, take a deep breath, and understand that it's going to be somewhat of a rebuild. I hope we get there, but if not, yes, there's going to be some frustration, especially if Jackson wins it again. But I also understand the reality of football, that it's going to take a little bit of time. And I know when it comes to fandom and football and sports, there ain't no patience. But I'm willing to take the patient route. I know fans aren't, but I am. And I think, that's just the way I look at it.
I put him in. I put him in the top 3. He's going to be under pressure, and especially if you have another repeat season. Go ahead, BJ.
I think Charles made a good point, especially with FAMU and Willie Simmons. And this is the reason why. Willie Simmons was so close to a Celebration Bowl title in 2018. Could have gotten the conference title in 2019, but FAMU, they, put themselves on sanctions. Last year, you had the 1-point loss to Jackson State. You win that ball game, you win the conference, you go to the Celebration Bowl. I think that FAMU fans are asking themselves, if not now, when? There's only so many times you're going to get close enough to knock on the door before not only are you not knocking on the door, you kick completely off the porch. And I think that FAMU fans may be getting a little antsy because you've been this close since 2018 and still haven't gotten that cigar.
Well, I'm not discounting FAMU. Willie Simmons, I agree with that, pressure. I'm just saying why McNair was not on there, because as well as you've done, much is given, much is expected. And then Charles said, do it. Hey, I agree with that. He's under pressure. No problem. The only disagreement I have is McNair should be on. Look, you really can look and say quite a bit of the coaches are under pressure, because now the swag, as far as their branding and excitement, you got 2 teams in the conference, new teams. That's automatic pressure from the get-go. You either do well or be in the conversation or have a chance to have a participate in the championship or in the equation, or you get left behind. So I wonder if anybody else agrees with me. Is McNair should be in that conversation? I think it will be.
Well, I'll say this, because I talk to Braves fans often, and there's one in particular that just, he is so distraught to this day about the season that we had. Yeah, distraught is the right word.
Expectations.
Yeah, because of the and just the fact that this individual doesn't like Jackson State, regardless of what sport. So that ties into the argument as well. But, the fact that the bad losses at the end, the Southern game, we were right there, and then Bethune-Cookman had struggled, the loss there. So I get that. It was disappointing, and even Jackson State, just some tough losses that we had. But again, I think that we've been on that perch so long up near the top of the mountain. Spoiled is the right word, and I think that's the right word. I think our fans are spoiled, and it's okay. It's okay that we're spoiled. But I do think, things happen, whether teams get better below you or whether you drop a little bit, whether you have issues and injuries. We had a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball that not a lot of people were talking about. Our former defensive coordinator talked about it. So many injuries, going to Bethune-Cookman with very limited bodies. I mean, it was a lot going on there. And I know fans don't want to hear that. That's just the truth. And so I think, years past, we didn't have that, but this year we did. And so I think you have to look at that and I'm like, okay, it was not one of our better years. Now you got a new quarterback coming into the fold. You've got a fairly decent running back stable coming in. But you got a new defensive coordinator, whole new defensive staff. Those pieces still have to be worked in through the spring, through summer conditioning, and in the fall camp. And with a tough schedule awaiting you, I just think you just got to take a deep breath for a second. And I know fans don't do it, but I think in this case, for the first time, and I don't know how long, we got to do it because this is the reality of where we are. And I think if we're going to stay up there, we have to just take a deep breath on this.
Well, I still say it's pressure. We'll agree to disagree. And then I hadn't forgotten about Mr. Jackson at Grambling State. You don't think he's under pressure? Flipping players, the fanfare coming from the NFL. That's going to be pressure on that.
As a Grambling Knight, Carlos, real quick, I would say that there wasn't pressure. But now all of a sudden, based on the other stuff that's happened, yes, there is pressure now. Where there were 3-4 months ago, there wasn't. But when the way this thing unfolded with the whole Briles situation and the other stuff, there's now pressure that really did need to be there. And as a Grambling Knight, that's the way I'm looking at it. It didn't have to be this way. We didn't have to go down this road. But that's the road that was chosen. So now you got to deal with that. So yes, there is pressure now where there shouldn't have been, because I think considering, what happened previously, I think, Hugh Jackson could come in and just kind of blend in and fit in and just kind of build it. But now the pressure's on. The Bayou Classic's got to be big. There's pressure now where there probably shouldn't have been. That's the way I'm looking at that situation.
And I think that pressure is going to be shared too, Carlos. I think that pressure is on Hugh Jackson, and I think that pressure is also on one Travian Scott as well.
I'll throw the president in as well. I'm throwing everybody in.
Yeah, it could be a trio. But it's definitely going to be pressure there. It's pressure there.
Well, and it's also pressure to end this show. We're literally out of time. BJ, have a great weekend, the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk again real soon. Charles, appreciate you as well. Monique, producing today's show. We made some adjustments. For everybody out there, have a safe holiday tomorrow, and we'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. And until next time, as always, peace and God bless.